Well, my personal problem, not personal, but my big problem with Dave Meltzer is that he's been caught out as a liar so many times, again and again and again. Yet he still has this army of complete idiot nerds who are like, but Dave Meltzer said it, therefore.
Well, the same could be said for Vince Russo. Vince Russo is a fraud. He has never really come up with anything on his own that made any kind of sense. When he was given any amount of actual autonomy and control, it was an unmitigated disaster. But still, he's got a little band of minions who, for whatever reason, mostly because, they feel like they're getting, close to somebody who is in the wrestling business for a cup of tea, basically, they'll become his little, cult. And Dave Meltzer has his own. Keep in mind, Dave Meltzer's been doing what he's been doing for almost 30 years, perhaps more. And for a long period of time, before digital, before we could do podcasts, before you could send me a message on Twitter and ask me to do an interview, which 20 minutes later we're doing it, and I'm talking to you while you're in Ireland and I'm in Wyoming in the United States. Before all that was possible, the only way that wrestling fans could get any information at all, or in Dave's case, misinformation about what was going on behind the scenes of the wrestling business, were dirt sheets. And of all the dirt sheets that were out there, Dave Meltzer's was prominent and by far and away the biggest, and from his perspective, most successful. So now you've got a couple generations of wrestling fans who feel like they've been bequeathed some inside information and perspective that no one else knows. So when they get together with their buddies, having a couple pints and watching, wrestling, if you're a subscriber to Dave Meltzer, you feel like you know more than everybody else in the room. And that has value. It's the way human beings are. And that's why Dave has such a loyal following. But he's earned it. I may not agree with a lot of the stuff that he's done and may have issues with some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. But he's earned it. He's in a very unique position, and hats off to him for working so hard and for so long to get there.
His fan base are the type of people who would read too much about a film before going to see it. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is the one where Bruce Willis is the ghost. We should go see that." And you go, "Oh, well, you just ruined it."
You know what? That's that right there. And now that's not anybody's fault. Again, that's human nature.
Yeah, true.
And it's unfortunate, we so quickly, we rush to a judgment about something with so little information. And this is true in politics. It's true in social media. It's so true about everything. We get all of our information now in these short little 20 and 30-second bursts or 140 characters, on Twitter or in social media messaging, on Instagram. That's where so much of our information about life in general comes from. And because of that, we quickly and emotionally, I might add, make a decision without any real information or without, worse yet, even thinking about it. We just make a decision. No thought, just feelings. And I think that's part of the problem with wrestling fans now. And again, it's probably no different. No, I don't follow, football, UK's version of football. I don't follow it here. I'm just not a fan because we call it soccer. It's just not as big of a deal over here as it is overseas. However, I would imagine, just like in the NFL here in the United States, millions and millions, tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars are generated just by people talking about something. They just need something to talk about. And they want to dig into the granular details of everything. That's human nature, and good business. And I think wrestling fans are like that. In the United States, they say the national pastime is baseball. There are millions of just hardcore baseball fanatics that know every statistic. They can tell you who won the third game of the World Series in 1964 and who was pitching and who was playing on first and how many at-bats, a certain, player had. I mean, just mindless kind of detail. But that's because they love and they feel passionately about their sport, whatever it may be.